We apologize for this brief interruption in the show. As many of you likely know, the Higher Standard podcast is officially sponsored by Transcend Company. Transcend has been my longtime provider for both testosterone and peptide therapies, but they offer so much more. Whether you're interested in health, wellness, or longevity, it all begins with you getting your blood work done. A lab draw will help you get the numbers and establish your baseline. You can go to transcendcompany.com/THSP. That's transcendcompany.com/THSP. Or you can click the link in the show notes on any streaming platform and on YouTube. Fill out your information and one of the representatives will contact you to get your journey started today. Now back to the show.
What do I know? What do you know, Chris?
First and foremost, let's talk about the important thing. Does my hair look okay? Perfect. All right, good. There's something light and warm and happy about the absence of Haroon on the show.
There's something about it. I feel like we're free birds.
I feel like the parents are gone and we can do whatever we want.
You know, he's so judgy back there.
Very judgy. And there's lots of commentary.
The second we get out, he's like, that was dog shit, guys.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, I don't know why anybody listens to you.
That's what he said.
He said that on multiple occasions.
Uh-huh.
Should we address the elephant in the room?
100%. Or the lack thereof.
So it has been 2 weeks since we recorded. And the last person to sit in that chair.
You know, the level of sexiness in this room has gone down significantly.
All I'm saying is when he moved his arm, lots of muscles moved that I don't see moving on
just
you.
Twitching all the time. His biceps just like, bam.
It was almost visually distracting how much switch was going on.
When I was in the back office here, that's all I could think about.
And I kept looking at the image of us sitting next to each other because I was editing it for the thumbnail. And I'm like, why do I look wider than him but not bigger than him? Oh, because I'm fat. That's right.
Oh.
Well, Saied, did you have anything, I don't know, financial literacy related?
We did. We actually have a really good episode for everybody tonight. So welcome back to the show, everybody. Today, we're going to get into a commonly used phrase in the financial space known as EBITDA. And that actually stands for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. But while explaining this, we'll probably go over a lot of other key details.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. It is a financial metric that shows how much money a company makes before taking into account non-operational expenses like interest and like taxes. So on cash expenses and stuff like that, so depreciation and amortization, all the things we listed out. So depreciation, amortization, taxes, and interest.
Yeah. So I think before we dive into this, it's key to know, there's three main financial statements that a business has.
Oh, look at you getting financially savvy.
Oh, just a little bit. This is back. I'm dating myself a little bit. Shout out to Professor Norris. Yeah. But there's three main statements when reviewing a business that you would want to ask or you would want to look at, right? First is the balance sheet, right? As your assets, your liabilities, no secret there, what a company owns and what a company owes, right?
So let's give this a bit of a more, common feel. If you were to put together your balance sheet as an individual, you would list all of your assets and all of your liabilities.
What would some of those look like?
Right. So for most people, their asset is going to be their home. Their liability is going to be their mortgage.
And then your bank statements, like your cash that you have, would also go in on the asset side, right? And, your credit card debt. Right.
Go on the liability side.
Yep.
You take all the assets and add them together, and hopefully it's a bigger number than all of the liabilities when you add them together, and you subtract your assets from your liabilities, and that in and of itself gives you your net worth. Well, companies are really no different. Whenever we talk about a balance sheet for a company, we're talking about all the same things. It's just that they're more technical in what they have.
Yes, exactly. And then the next statement, which we'll be diving into today, really is the income statement, right? Think of that as, the profit and losses of a company. You have your revenue, and then you minus all your expenses, and you figure out if you have any profit or what's their net income at the end of all that.
And for an individual, if you're a W-2 wage earner, your income is your W-2 wage job and any other source of income that you might have. For most of America, it's just your job. Then what you're going to do is you're going to subtract all of your expenses. Now, similarly, when you look at EBITDA, it's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, right? So think about it in the context of your income. Your earnings before interest and taxes, right? That is your W-2 wage before you're taxed, your gross income. And a lot of reasons why that's important for you is whenever you go to qualify for a home, they're looking at your gross income.
Right. That's the front end ratio that we've spoken about before.
And in business, really what you're talking about, your earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization is your true gross income.
Right. Exactly. And then that last statement, which we'll briefly dive into today, is the cash flow statement, right? It's basically the amount of cash a business has on hand and how they use that cash throughout that cycle. And keep in mind, for the balance sheet, for the income statement, and for the cash flow statement, these are always snapshots of a period of time that it's covering. It's not, since the start of the business. It's just at this given moment, the data on the statement, this is where they're at.
Yeah, and it's always subject to change. Obviously, you're going to have some interesting things from a tax perspective that I think is worth noting here. It is not uncommon in the business world to see tax returns that don't necessarily align with the income statement. Keep in mind that whenever you are reporting your income for tax purposes, there are tax implications to reporting income, and there are different ways that you do it for tax purposes, right? There are guidelines and rules. But you may have an income statement which looks very much different and in some cases more profitable because the income statement is really trying to capture this EBITDA, or earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, because it is a like way to compare business to business to get the true cash flow from operations. It's hyper useful for investors. It's hyper useful for anybody looking at the business to analyze its profitability because it gives you an idea of how profitable any company is.
And it allows you to compare it to other like-minded or other like businesses, right?
Yeah.
So you might begin to ask yourself, okay, well, why would we want to exclude it? Okay, the true cash. Why? Why would you exclude the interest, right? Because every company has different financing structures, right? Not everybody gets the same terms, right? The same interest rate, things of that nature. So you want to exclude that to get to the heart of the business. Why would you want to exclude the taxes, right? Certain companies that are headquartered at certain locations have pros or cons to where they live geographically, right? So that's another reason why you'd want to pull that out. And then depreciation and amortization. What is depreciation exactly?
So you have assets that you have on your balance sheet, which you can depreciate down, and you can use that depreciation in any given year to offset your tax liability.
Right. So it's like the wear and tear of that asset over time. You're allowed to, I guess, devalue it over time because it is losing its value because it has an economic life, right?
Right, exactly. A useful economic life. Then when you get towards the end of it, there's no more depreciation left in it, which you'll often find businesses will then buy something new to depreciate, right?
Right.
You can depreciate hardware and stuff that you have in your office for like tools and peripherals, computers, stuff like that. You can depreciate larger buildings. You can depreciate cars.
Right. That's a very common example. So if you were to go look this up, a common example that you might come across is if a company buys a truck and it's worth costs $100,000 over the course of the next 5 years, you can depreciate that asset $20,000 a year.
Yeah, because you're depreciating it down, and that's why it is a quote depreciating asset, right? It's not something that's going up in value; it's going down in value over time.
Right.
So more, I guess, simply put, what I like to tell people when we start looking at earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, and this phrase EBITDA, which is so widely used in the business world, is that you're really talking about net income, right? Everything else, you have interest expense, you've got taxes, depreciation, amortization. These are things that aren't necessarily real income implications. And let me explain this to you. So whenever you're making money, your net income, this is how much money you're making from your operations. Your interest expense, right, is not really something that's coming out of your earnings every single day in operational sense. This is more of a tax and accounting expense to you in how you account for it on your tax return. Your taxes are going to come out, but your taxes aren't necessarily done instantly. When you're running a business, you can pay quarterly taxes, you can pay annual taxes. There's different tax structures that are in place. So again, it's not going to give you a true indication of your cash flow on a quarterly and annual basis. You're looking at that after this was paid at a certain snapshot in time, to your point earlier. Depreciation is a tax accounting methodology. It's not real. You're not going to actually lose money because your vehicle is depreciating down. You still have the vehicle. You're still using it. So just because it's losing value over time doesn't impact you. Very similar to a consumer. If you were driving a car and you bought it for $50,000 and it's now worth $20,000, if the car's still running fine, your utility is using it. Same for businesses, right? Amortization, you're amortizing the cost of things like interest over time, right? And your amortization, like on a mortgage for you, whenever you depreciate it, is effectively a write-down for tax purposes.
Right.
Companies, same thing. So really you're talking true operational expenses minus the things that for tax reporting purposes, in large part, almost entirely, are fabricated numbers or numbers that come up on either a quarterly or annual, less consistent basis, if that makes sense.
Right. So, and if you're wondering, why are we talking about this? This is a key term that's commonly thrown around when you're trying to evaluate a company's operating performance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not lost on us before we start getting attacked in the comments, right, or in the DMs that are RIP to the legend Charlie Munger, that he called this the bullshit earnings, right?
I did not know that. Is that real?
Yeah, he called it bullshit because he's obviously he's very much aware, and we're aware too, that there are an infinite number of ways to hide some of these recurring or non-recurring expenses to hide the true operating cost or value of a company. So that but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't know what this is and what this means. I mean, this is a good starting point, right? Because if you were to just solely use EBITDA to value a company based off a multiple, I mean, it's way more complex than that.
Yeah, it is. But again, EBITDA is like one of those ubiquitous things that we use industry-wide to evaluate businesses. It is commonly understood. I understand that someone like Charlie Munger has a more technical perspective on this. But for most people who are listening to it, just getting a simple grasp of this as an indicator, it's valuable.
No, it's absolutely valuable, and you need to know it as a starting point, right? As a launching
100%.
pad. Yeah.
So I want to make sure we save time towards the tail end of the show because Haroon's not here, so we can actually have fun with pop culture today. Right?
Yeah, we could scrap his articles, do our own, or are we going to try?
No, I got a whole subset of information I want to talk to you about that's very important and culturally relevant.
Oh.
Yeah. But before we do, let's do some house cleaning items, shall we?
Let's do it.
Welcome back to the #1 financial literacy podcast in the world. If you didn't know, now you do. I am excited to introduce my partner in time.
Wow.
The one and only Saied Omar.
Oh, thank you, my man. Sitting next to me on my left is my partner in crime, Chris Nahibi. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Thank you. And, of course, no show would be complete without introducing our sexy and amazing producer, the one and only DJ Haroon. Haroon, go ahead. Oh, shit.
We're waiting.
Yeah.
Pausing for emphasis.
Well, if he were here, he would probably remind us that during this show's recording on July 2nd and the time this comes out on July 9th, it will be the 4th of July. So we hope you had a wonderful holiday and you celebrated America's independence and go America.
Go America.
Yeah. I feel like that's the appropriate thing to say. Right?
Yeah, that's a great thing to say. Yeah.
Is it? I feel like I'm kind of locked in. So I had some interesting articles to talk about. This one I think we're going to spend a little bit of time in theory. This is from Chart of the Day. Where do wealthy, younger, and older investors see the greatest potential for growth? And when I first read this, I wasn't going to share it on the show.
Okay.
And then I started to think about what we've been saying on this show for years now about how the jobs numbers are reported and how the next generation has perceived wealth and the growth of wealth. So bear with me.
Yeah, no, I like this. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to read you I'll read you the quote, and then we'll get into some of the data and why this is relevant. So since today's younger generations are more tech-focused, one company aims to change the traditional businesses of managing the fortunes of the wealthy and inheritors. See how it's aiming to be at the forefront of wealth management amid the great wealth transfer at, and it goes in the link in bio and all that stuff. But what's more important here is the perspectives. So
which one struck you by surprise?
Oh, I'll get there.
Okay.
Don't worry. So there's two real categories of groups that were polled for this. Ages 21 to 43.
I mean, that's our age demographic.
I just turned 44 last week.
You're out.
Yeah. The second demographic is 44 plus.
That's right.
So that was hurtful. Did you do that intentionally, or you just? Yeah, it's hurtful. Okay. So, well, of this demographic, real estate investments. Okay. Again, the question is, where do wealthy, younger, and older investors see the greatest potential for growth? Ages 21 to 43, 31% see real estate investments as a significant source for potential for growth.
What do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I think there's going to be some interesting dichotomy of theories, but so for perspective, the 44 plus, 32%. So very similar. Everyone sees real estate as a source of wealth.
Like, we all agree on this.
Anecdotally, the only other category that was rated higher amongst everybody, of both demographics, both ages 21 to 43 and ages 44 plus. Domestic equities 41%, but only for 44 plus year olds.
Right.
So
and what is it? What are domestic equities?
So think about it, companies here that we talk about all the time that are based in the United States and traded on the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, domestic equities, stocks, companies here. Okay. So that's an interesting kind of perspective. So people 44 plus believe that your two primary sources of wealth for potential for wealth come from A, real estate ownership, and B, stock. And more 44 plus year old at 41% believe that they can get wealth from stock than they do 32% in real estate.
Yep.
Now, for real estate investments for 21 to 43, again, 31%. So again, very similar to the 44-year-old group. But when it comes to domestic equities, only 14% believe that stock has potential for wealth.
Clearly, none of these saw the viral TikTok.
You can go right back to that.
I mean,
it's self-serving. Talk about how viral of a TikTok you are. I think they suppressed me after that, by the way.
Well, they didn't like you.
Every time I post now, I get like zero
Wow, we
views.
what is it called? Stitched?
There's lots of that, yeah.
We got a lot of stitching off that?
Stitching off.
Is that?
That's not how
that's not the vernacular?
You did not expose your skill set in the social media realm there. Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I'm not gonna lie, I was proud of that moment when I got stitched.
When you went viral?
No, when I got the viral, that was bound to happen.
So when the ambiguous, an odd older Indian dude criticized your methodology and I defended you?
He's what he say, please tell me how you make millions.
Yeah. Please tell me. Yeah, he had a bit of a weird accent too.
He was so upset.
Yeah, he never responded.
He never responded, yeah. And you tagged him multiple times.
Multiple times. I wanted all the smoke.
Yeah.
Or she should, whatever.
No, all the smoke's right.
All right, so another polarizing category, ages 21 to 43. Of that category, the second largest source for potential wealth. I mean, you already know, right?
And this is the one. This is what I wanted to get into when I saw this chart. This right here.
Crypto/digital assets. Second largest potential source of wealth for ages 21 to 43. And just to be clear,
no, it's where they think there's greatest potential for growth.
Yeah.
You know, like they are believing in the system, right?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, look, that has to largely be due to distrust in traditional, environments with where everyone else sees it going. If they feel like the system have let them down, okay? They feel like they're not playing a level playing field.
Are you defending the crypto bros here?
I'm not defending crypto bros. I'm trying to.
Feels like you are.
I'm trying to understand the point of view, right?
Okay. All right.
And if unaffordability is at an all-time high for real estate, and that's what they believe in, right? They think that they can outperform the market if they jump into something like crypto just because of the hype.
Well, but here's an interesting, I guess, response to that. If 31% of ages 21 to 43 believe that real estate, unattainable as it may be, has got the greatest potential source of wealth for them, and it's unattainable for the most part for a lot of people, then why is something as easily obtainable as crypto/digital assets at 28%, the second highest category as far as this survey goes? Why is that so coveted for them?
I'm wondering if maybe they feel like that's their future down payment.
Maybe the irony is because it is readily attainable, and because they've seen peers get hyper wealthy off of it.
And that's in that space for sure. It's all peer driven, right?
Well,
you don't want to be the guy that got left behind.
There's several things that I would like to be the guy left behind on.
Really?
Charlie Munger had no love for this, brother.
I mean, yeah. Look, if it's not good enough for Charlie, it's not good enough for me.
Jamie Dimon has no love for this.
Yeah,
that's pretty much like Jesus and Muhammad.
But he's more of a politician.
He is. A very, very wealthy one.
Yeah, no, but he's regulated by a lot of people that don't want him to believe.
And just to be clear, how tall is Jamie Dimon?
I wouldn't know.
6'4".
Wow.
Yeah, didn't see that coming, did you?
It's pretty gangster.
He might be considerably more wealthy.
Like, you got to be 6'4", right? If you're the CEO of Chase, you can't be coming in there 5'8".
I mean, there is a height requirement. I'm sure.
You can't be 5'8".
Ooh, Tom, we would love to promote you, but you're only 6'1". Just to be clear, that's kind of Italian model height. That's not bank CEO height.
We need you to have a presence before you walk in this room.
Yeah. Are you a baritone? Tom?
A baritone?
It's for providing, social candor.
Yeah.
Ironically, 44-year-old plus category, only 4% tied for the lowest confidence and potential for growing wealth was cryptocurrency. So
Now,
there is a very wide disparity there.
Now, the age 21 to 43 will just look at them and be like, you just don't get it, bro.
Perhaps, but there is something that is measurably different in their perspectives on where wealth could be generated. Now, me as a 44-plus-year-old, 44 now, I shouldn't say plus, 44 now year old, I did own crypto for a long period of time, but I eventually gave up on it. I don't own any crypto anymore. I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which one did you own?
I own Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Oh, you got out on Bitcoin.
And Ethereum, yeah.
At the right time?
Was there a right time, per se?
I mean, when it was higher. I mean, obviously, they've taken a couple rug pulls, and people still believing in it.
I don't even remember the dollar amount at this point. I got out shortly before the crypto winter hit 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I was in Ethereum for up until not too long ago, actually. When Ethereum started trading on some of the mutual funds or whatever it was, or the funds, I got out.
A couple guys.
It was when Nouriel Roubini started co-signing. I'm like, I'm out.
Oh, yeah. There are a couple guys that I follow that maybe we'll do another show and we could talk about some people that we like their stuff. But they haven't really missed on a lot of their predictions. And I remember them explaining why they think that it's something like Bitcoin has survived all this. And it's the economic distress that's going around, right? It's just creating more and more distrust, right? And people just starting to sway and go that way.
There is a I'm not sure you want to go down this rabbit hole, but the problem that I find with most people who distrust the system is there's one of two issues. Issue number one is there is a wide lack of understanding of how the financial system actually works.
Yeah.
Or issue number two, there is a huge, overly developed sense of conspiracy theory. And sometimes you get one and two, and you get somebody who doesn't really fully understand the financial system, and then conspiracy theory layered into it, and they're like, oh, this is why the government is secretly controlling the purse strings. And it's like, okay, look, again, I hear you. I like UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
I like little green men. I like the idea of aliens. I like the idea of all the conspiracy theory. But here's the problem. I can't change the rules of the game to fit your... I'm not going to be like, fuck it, I'm not playing. I don't want to get rich.
100%, exactly.
You know what I mean? So when it comes to stuff like this, as much as I understand the criticism of the traditional system and why people love Bitcoin, at the same time, during the height of what I would think we refer to as a crypto winter now, about 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, there was a massive frustration where people were calling for regulation and decentralization of centralization of the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wait a minute, it was supposed to be decentralized and unregulated.
That was the whole hype behind it, right?
But now you want regulation in there because things are getting wild. And then you saw, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Mm-hmm.
Then you saw all these people. I mean, Coinbase seems to have a good reputation still, but you saw.
But when they come out with an ETF for Bitcoin, right? Which is not you buying Bitcoin, it's you buying into something that's tracking the value of Bitcoin, right?
And that's the hypocrisy of Wall Street. Wall Street was all about no, trash. Oh, we can make money off this?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should do this.
Sign me up, right?
Yeah.
The problem that I have with that is, I mean, we talk about it enough on the show that there's not a lot of people out there that are financially literate, but that'll give it a fake sense of regulation. If something's got an ETF, oh, okay. I mean, it's got to be a little bit more secure then, right?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, you're I guess, more involved with traditional Wall Street, so it gives it an auspice of more regulation. But does that mean that you're more regulated or stable?
No, it's not. No, it's not. So
there's a whole Bitcoin halving argument out there too. I'm not knocking crypto because I'm not like you and I don't have death wishes. But I'm just saying that for me, as a 44-plus-year-old, I just decided at some point I've played this game. I'm not good at it. I'm going to stick with real estate and domestic securities. And this fits my mold, this response.
Right. I mean, play the game that's been played longer, and there's plenty more examples for you to follow than that, right?
Well, and I would also point out, look, this is going to sound contradictory for me to say, but you should invest in what you feel comfortable and what you've got a good track record at. I didn't have the world's greatest track record with crypto, but I got a pretty good track record with real estate. In domestic securities, I'm not super risky, but I mean, I hold stuff long term. I invest in stuff that I like, and we talked about my investment philosophy for
Wait,
for time.
you like blue chips?
Blue chippies. I had a blueberry cookie, blueberry lemon cookie.
You took? Well, are you hungry? I'm talking about blue chip stocks.
Bro, I know. I had one
You
before
took
I
a
left the
hard
house. I know, because we went to the beach last night. We got ice cream and cookies. We didn't eat the ice cream or cookies.
Went to the beach last night.
Yeah, not me. My wife and my son, and we all went. And then, in any event, she brought this cookie home, and I was gonna take a bite of it today. Just a small bite.
You can't do that.
It was intoxicating.
You don't have that level of discipline.
It was so good.
One bite?
I tried. I normally have that level of discipline. It was a fantastic cookie.
Wow.
Yeah, like blueberry lemon with some. And I was like, if you describe that to me, I'd be like, that's gross.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Thanks for the invite, bro.
I went all in ham.
Ham.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah. People don't use that word anymore, do they?
Yeah. You're dating yourself. Back to those concerts that you visited.
Oh yeah, Jay-Z. Okay, so number 3, I think it's important. What do you think? What do you think about private equity?
Yeah, that's really interesting to me. I mean, the fact that ages 21 to 43. Let me see. Where does it rank on this list?
It's third. It's 26% for ages 21 to 43.
So I mean, where's the confidence for private equity coming in from?
I did not understand that. That one is completely mind blowing to me. Meanwhile, ages 44 plus, 15%.
Yeah.
So private equity has got some real love in the younger demographic. And traditionally speaking, in my generation, private equity is seemed as like, really aggressive, hyper, like.
I mean, 21 to 43, how much cash you got to go invest into private equity?
Do they even know what it is?
That's what I mean. Did you watch?
It's a valuable question.
You just watched Carl Icahn, the documentary?
Not a private equity.
No, but I mean,
but
activist investor, right? Like, just thinking, like, is that sexy to you? Is that what it is?
All right. So the meat of this conversation, the real reason we're here, believe it or not, is not all these things we've talked about.
Okay.
Right. It's number 4.
Okay.
Personal company / brand. This to me was the moment where I went,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly what we've been talking about on the show.
Exactly what we've been talking about. So 24% of ages 21 to 43 believe that the greatest potential for wealth comes from owning their own company or building their own brand.
Yeah, starting that side hustle that we've been talking about.
Okay. We have talked a lot about how the younger generation has had this appeal to being their own boss, being influencers, being all sorts of, call it whatever you want, but being self-employed, independent in this vagabond traveling lifestyle, which has been made hyper famous with social media and attractive, which questionable whether it's actually a good lifestyle or not. But whatever floats your boat, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a wide pivot here. This 21 to 43 is a working demographic. They do report into full-time labor statistics from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Mm-hmm.
This to me screamed, this is why there are people working multiple jobs. People who work a W-2 job and people who are looking at this in this demographic, 21 to 43, hyper, tons of energy, you're young, you've got potential. You're working 2 jobs. You're 1, building your company and your brand, and 2, you're working a W-2 job while you're doing this, right?
Right.
Or you're working just 2 jobs in general. I mean, there's a whole different way this plays out. Meanwhile, 6%, only 6% of ages 44 plus believe that this is a strong source of potential growth.
I mean, I can understand that, right? If you're,
it's a cultural pivot, man.
It's definitely a cultural pivot, and if you're of the age of 44 or higher, right? I can see a world where if I'm 44, even now, right? That if I were to start something new, it's a little scary.
100%, yeah.
Right. It would definitely have to be between the times of 5 p.m. to 9 a.m.
Yeah, I get it.
Right. So, and for a lot of people don't want to make that sacrifice.
But what's more important is the age demographic 44 plus. Only 6% believe that's a potential growth. I would understand if someone said, I think there's tons of possibility, there's potential, and I just can't do it because of the position I'm in life. But they still believe. They just don't believe the growth is there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it a different way. 94% of people age 44 plus don't believe that owning your own company and building your own brand has potential for growth for them.
Yeah, because probably all the businesses that they've been a part of, right, have too many cooks in the kitchen.
But there's this narrative change with the age 21 to 43 where they really believe that's where they can build well. And good for them, by the way.
And honestly, they need to believe that, right? Because we've talked about on the show before that hopefully not, but a majority of people aren't going to be able to buy homes the same way like their parents were able to.
100%, yeah.
Right? So they're going to have to look for other avenues, whether that's, investing in domestic equities like we talked about, or, just investing in the stock market in general, or starting your own business, starting your own side hustle, investing in something for yourself to grow.
Well, I found this fascinating. I'll go through the rest of the list real quick. I won't cite the numbers just to give people some perspective. All these are rated lower and progressively lower for the 21 to 43 category. But effectively, you go from private company or personal company and brand to direct impact into companies or direct investment into companies, right? Companies focused on positive impact, which I thought was kind of random, fixed income, emerging market equities, domestic equities, international equities, tangible assets, and private debt. So all these are progressively lower for the age 21 to 43 category, which really drove this. I thought that was wildly fascinating.
Right. Man.
Wow, could you sell the right man?
No, because I'm just thinking, like, for a lot of people, what does that even look like? What does that even look like for them to begin to? That's the problem that they have, is what business am I going to start? That's the other part of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're of the age of 21 to 43, look, by the age of people, what age do people normally start families? And that's starting to go back further and further.
Yeah.
Right. So by that age, you already have a family too.
Yeah, but that's what I've always said. Like, start it, at 5 to 9. Start your second job. We're here. It's late at night.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday night at 9:41 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's late.
It's late.
But this is a side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not mind pump balling. We're ghost balling though.
Yeah, we're balling adjacent.
Yeah, we're more Doug than we are Adam.
I wish. Yeah. I wish. More ways than one.
Doug out here, you know what? I don't need to wear the Rolex. I don't need to do it.
Yeah, that was a great segment for the show.
Yeah, I'm wealthy.
I was contemplating on making that the real too.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't do that to Doug.
I can't do it to Doug either.
He would be embarrassed.
Yeah, he would.
I can do it.
Tag the shit out of him.
Yeah. So shall we go on to the CNBC article?
100%.
Key Fed measure shows inflation rose 2.6% in May from a year ago as expected. And on the heels of this, the market started to rally in a positive way because they were like, oh my God, is inflation creeping the right way? Are we if it's as expected and we thought this was where it was going to be, we're going according to plan? And the market was like, yes, rate cuts, baby. Give them to me.
Right. So it went from 2.7% down to 2.6%. I know that doesn't seem like a whole lot for a lot of people, but that's headed in the right direction. Remember, as we get leaner and leaner on this number, it becomes more and more difficult to get leaner, right? No different than actually losing weight. So, and the Fed has routinely said that they want to stick to their target rate of 2% before they begin to cut rates, or at least heading down at a fast enough pace, and they have to have enough confidence that it will, in fact, get there before they begin cutting. So your boy, Jerome Powell, was where was he today? Was it today or yesterday?
Did you see the video of him today? You
Which one?
didn't see it, did you?
He got the little patch on his nose.
Yeah, what the fuck was that?
Does he got acne still?
No, that's got to be like skin cancer or something. He had a
skin.
big
Wow,
patch.
bro, skin cancer.
You're not gonna have a Band-Aid that big on your nose on a press release for a pimple.
What do you mean? No, it wasn't a press. He was on stage with I don't know who it was, but somebody from the European Central Bank. So they're all getting questioned.
You're talking amongst yourselves. I'm gonna find the answer to this.
Yeah. I forget where he was, but so they were getting questioned. And
that wasn't Davos, was it?
No, it wasn't Davos. No, it was just him and like two other people. But he was asked like, you have not followed suit of the European Central Bank that recently cut rates 25 basis points in June. Why not? Right? And he basically went on to say that after seeing a pause in inflation during the first quarter, right, where inflation remained stagnant and actually crept up a little bit, we're actually now starting to see disinflationary trends again. Okay? But in fact, we still need to see more confidence before we do, in fact, cut. Then the reporter went on to say, so what does it look like? Does it look like September for you? Obviously, he wasn't going to say, but this is the part about it that really bothered me. Okay. He said, we've made quite a bit of progress to bringing down inflation while the labor market is strong and growth has continued. What does he mean by that? Unemployment is still very low, and GDP shows that we're still, in fact, growing. Right?
Nothing on his Band-Aid, damn it.
So and then he went on to say, because the labor market is strong and we are still experiencing growth, we're able to afford giving ourselves more time, and we're going to in fact use it to our advantage, right? Which
I really found those comments like unnecessary.
yeah, he's just like,
It wasn't just him. There was other Fed presidents out today saying the same thing.
yeah,
That we have time, we're going to be extra cautious. And then one of them went so far as to say, I don't see us hitting the 2% target this year or next year.
right.
And I'm like, bruh.
So what does that mean? Obviously that means it goes back to what your boy said over a year ago, that they're going to jump off this 2%, target at some point and be like, yeah, we're wrong with that. We're never going to hit it. And they are in fact going to cut. Remember, they could cut for other reasons.
Jobs.
Yes, jobs, right?
Yeah.
What was it? That term that's being thrown around on all the earnings calls?
Operational efficiency, baby.
Yeah.
How dare you question my judgment?
When operational efficiency actually starts to decrease, right? Then you start to see more layoffs. What's the Fed going to do? The Fed's going to be forced to have to cut rates because that's part of their dual mandate, providing maximum employment.
I made the mistake of following this page on X, and I don't remember the name of it right now, but they announced like all the layoffs that they catch in a day. It is the most depressing page ever. It wasn't bad. Like when I went to the page and just looked through, I'm like, oh, they announced all the layoffs from like public companies and stuff here,
Right.
And when it pops up on your feed, because in between other things that you follow,
yeah,
and it's just like layoffs, comment, layoffs, layoffs, comment, layoffs, comment. You're just like, Jesus, I can't take it anymore. I had to unfollow.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
So, and this is the part that bothers me about the jobs report, because we're going to have another jobs report come out this Friday, right?
Is it this Friday?
On first Friday of the month.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, unless they don't because of the holiday for whatever reason, but
No.
it should be coming out.
Should be coming out, yeah.
Yeah, it should be coming out. This is the part that bothers both Chris and I, and sometimes Haroon when he's listening.
He certainly doesn't come to the show anymore.
About the jobs report, because we're calling BS, calling shenanigans on the whole thing, especially because it gets revised not once but twice, every so often on these reports, is that the Fed needs to have these positive prints.
Oh, yeah.
In order to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they're lying about the reports. I'm not going to go that far. But a lot of it is based off of estimates. A lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives themselves a larger margin for error that they can be like, oh, yeah, that's not our fault. It was wrong. I mean, those are estimates, right? But then you got a report like this that also comes out today, which provides more optimism. This from Yahoo Finance: job openings, new hires unexpectedly rise in May as labor data steadies ahead of June jobs report. Job openings unexpectedly picked up in May as investors had been watching for further signs of cooling in the labor market. New data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics released Tuesday showed there were 8.14 million jobs open at the end of May, an increase from the 7.92 million job openings in April.
Which some of those are ghost positions. Those aren't real.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, do companies actually take down their openings if they're no longer hiring?
So sometimes, no. Most of the time now, no. And some companies will even go so far as to post jobs to make themselves look like they're growing.
Yeah. So wait, go into that. Why? Why would they do that?
So if you're a company, right, and you had all these job postings, let's just say you had like 50 job postings out there because you're a big company. If you take them down all of a sudden, number one, it's a pretty significant pullback if you're saying we're not hiring anybody. Because you had a need to hire that person, right? That's why you had the posting there.
Right.
Unless they're like a commission employee and you're going to pay them a commission based on what they bring in. And even then, you're like, okay, well, you're not going to go out of pocket. If they don't bring in the business, you don't pay them. So even then, you're like, okay, well, why would you take it down?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's going on with you that you're taking it down? Some companies will do the opposite. Look, we don't need to hire anybody. We want to make it look like we're hiring everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
So they put out like all these 10, 15 postings. The saddest thing I can think of as somebody who needs a job, and I will say it's been like 17 years, maybe 18 years since I've interviewed for a job. It is not lost on me how difficult and painful that process is.
Mm-hmm.
Resume, applying. I would venture to guess, and I would love to get like somebody in the HR world on the show at some point to talk about this. I would venture to guess that the 95% of people who submit resumes never get seen. People don't realize when you submit a resume through things like LinkedIn, a lot of the people on the back end have an AI-generated filter, which will literally filter out applications it thinks does not meet the criteria of the job. And your resume may never actually get seen by a human. Think that through.
Right.
You're a person who needs a job. you're applying for a job you believe you're qualified for. And sure, there's lots of people out there who apply for jobs that they're not qualified for. But this is a use case for AI, right? Hey, AI, tell me if this person's a fit for these parameters and feed it through if it is.
Right.
It's reasonable to do this with AI.
Yeah.
But then how do you feel as a human that your resume, when you applied for this job, didn't even get through to a person to consider it?
Right.
That's crazy.
I say this a lot to like my younger cousins that that call me for advice sometimes. And I'll say, look, there's a human element still to everything. You know, I know we're growing up in this social media era and where everybody's so technologically advanced and you could just, you know, I know people that have their resumes built out and they'll just go like on Indeed and just like submit. And they go, oh, I applied to 20 jobs today. I'm like, did you though?
It wasn't tailored to the job.
Did you reach out to anybody there? Did you actually,
No, in their defense, you really can't get anybody on the phone anymore.
No, you can't. But look, did you try? But are you telling me you're trying? It's because I know some people are fighting to like get a job for months and months and months. I'm like, how much are you really, really trying? Right? I mean, I'd be that crazy guy that would go knock on somebody's door like the old fashioned days. I'd be like, hey man, I'm looking for a job. I'll take any job you got. Level entry. Let's go.
So you would entry level. Yeah, you would stalk somebody to go to their house and do this. Is what you're saying?
No, I mean,
so
if I knew there was an opportunity for me to go, and if I reached out to somebody, be like, hey, can I come over? And
it seems a little insensitive.
Why?
Your suggestion to people is to go knock on somebody's door and hound them for a job?
Not hound them for a job, but like I said, there's a human. If you can find a way to get face to face with someone, you're telling me that it's not harder to say no to somebody to their face. Look, just for an interview, give me an interview, give me a shot.
Let's improve on the example.
Okay.
You should consider going to the corporate office and asking to speak to somebody in HR.
That's what I'm talking about.
Face to face.
Yeah. That person's hungry.
Home.
No one said at home. Hold on.
Let me ask you your thoughts on something. My youngest sister got her first job working at a flower shop.
Congrats.
She wants to quit.
Okay.
She's quitting.
I quit my first job after day 1 too.
Not after day 1. It's been a couple weeks.
Okay.
She knows everything about it now.
Better than me.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there, but okay, sure. She wanted to resign by providing a 2-week notice via text message, and I said no.
No.
I said, no, you got to type something out, and you got to hand deliver it to somebody when you have a conversation with them and say, hey, look, I like working here, but my life has changed a little bit. No harm, no foul. I'm willing to stay on for 2 weeks if that's what you need. I'm also willing to leave today if you prefer that, whatever works best for you. And then you give them the letter which states that you're resigning, and you make it amicable, you make it friendly, and you be candid. She was in full anxiety. Just, why would I? That's so confrontational. Why would I do that? And I'm like, no, that's kind of the way this works. Mm-hmm. Are you a text message, quit my job, whatever kind of person?
No. I'm of that mindset. Because also on top of that too, you never want to burn that bridge, right? You never know. I mean, look, that person may be very understanding of what you're going through, and maybe you could reach out to them. Look, you're going to need another reference at some point, given I get it. It's only a couple weeks.
The idea of references are completely lost on them.
Yeah, completely lost on them, right? And look, if you leave a positive impact, that person could be a mentor for you at some point in time, or you could reach out for advice on something.
No, they can't be a mentorship because you're not paying them for their services online.
Okay, no, but you know what I mean. OG mentors, right? But for like, I'll say this. I said this to my son. I don't know if I've shared this story on the show, but I tell my son all the time because he'll like say like, he's very, very confident. Okay, doesn't have a problem approaching anybody, right? And I don't know who he gets that from because I definitely did not have that when I was a kid. Okay, but we were at In-N-Out, and it was one of the first times he actually looked at me and he told me, he's like, "Oh, that girl." He was talking about the girl behind the counter. He's like, "That girl's really pretty."
Oh wow!
Right?
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, you okay? That's a good job. Good job, man. Not bad, right?" And then we go back and we're waiting for our order, and he looks up and he's like, "Oh, number 7. They're now serving numbers. Dad, they've only had 7 customers so far today." I was like, "No, buddy. After 99, it starts back over again." He's like, "Really? How many times do they go over?" I'm like, I saw it at this moment. I'm like, "Why don't you go ask the pretty girl?" Right? Not anybody else. I want you to go ask the pretty girl.
So you are acknowledging, in fact, she was pretty?
No, his reference to the pretty girl.
That's not how I was going to feel about it.
He got a little shy, right? And I'm like, Adam, look, like you're going to have to do this, bud. Now we're not leaving until you ask her. So he goes over.
Wow, the peer pressure is ruthless, man.
Yeah, I'm like, Adam, what's the worst that can happen? She's going to tell you, no, I'm too busy. At least you tried. If you don't try, then you're never gonna know. That resonated with him, so he goes. He goes and asks. She says, "Oh, we've gone over 5 times today, but on weekends sometimes we go over 7 times, right?" And he comes running back. He's like, "Dad, they had over 500 customers today." And I'm like, look how much you learned just from going and asking. You just wanted to know how many times it gone over. She gave you more information. So I'm like, these are valuable lessons that I want him to learn. And like, look, you can't be afraid. I know it's hard. You got to put yourself out there. You got to try it because you never know what you're going to get from it.
Interesting how we, as we grow up, forget that same advice ourselves.
Yeah.
Because you get comfortable. When you're a kid, you're afraid. When you're an adult, you're comfortable. And the fear manifests in awkwardness, not in fear per se.
Yeah.
You're just uncomfortable doing something, so you're just like, I'm not going to do it.
That does. I know. And actually, I spent some time thinking about that for us this last week and tail end of last week and over the weekend.
Oh.
Right? I was like, man, like, why aren't we just reaching out to sponsors left and right? That makes sense. Sponsors,
we don't want to dilute the show down, obviously.
No, sponsors that make sense, that believe in what we believe, right? And like to your point, you're like, oh, okay, you got to make a pitch deck. You got to make sure you got to do X, Y, and Z to show them true value.
You don't really have to do those things to get sponsors. You can either, one, build relationships, right? Have somebody connect you. You don't need any of that stuff. You do that. Or 2, if you're going to go in cold, you got to present well, and a pitch deck usually does that.
It does present well. It shows you're more prepared. So after you said that, I was like, okay. And then I went down the rabbit hole of like, okay, I did some research on, good pitch decks. I looked up like, videos on how to make a good pitch deck. And I could tell I'm like, oh man, when am I going to find the time to do this? Okay.
Bro, I can show you how to do it pretty easy.
No, I know you can, but look, that doubt started to creep in. And then I also thought to myself, all right, well, fuck it. Why don't I just go? I'll just approach them, and if they want a pitch deck, I'll make you a pitch deck. I'm not gonna let this hold me back. I'm just gonna do it, and then if they ask for it, great. If not, we'll set up a meeting. Talk to the chief financial officer.
Jesus,
because everyone knows I'm the chief operating officer, and he's the CEO.
Haroon is?
Yeah.
Is that why he's never here?
I mean, yeah, he's boss.
Guys, go to work. Drop off the hard drive in my mailbox, and I'll let you know what I think. Yeah. That's pretty much what he said today. So this would be a good point to pause and say, transcendcompany.com/THSP. We are sponsored by the one and only Transcend Company, and I'm proud. I'm enthusiastic to say that Saied Omar is officially a client, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah!
Shout out to my guy, Len, short for Leonard over there. He really hooked me up today. I had a nice conversation with him. Made me feel really, really comfortable about the whole process, man.
He only works with VIPs, right?
Yeah.
So nobody listening is probably going to get Len.
Well, let me tell you right now, if they're closely connected to Len, you're still in good hands because he made me feel very, very comfortable with the whole process. Got me set up. I'm getting started is on BPC 157.
Wolverine peptide. I'm currently on that.
That's what he calls it, the Wolverine peptide.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
Yes, that's a gangster name. So I'm excited
because it literally heals your body like that well.
Yeah.
It is honestly the most astonishing thing. When you're a kid and you got a cut and you healed super fast, like when you get older that you don't heal as fast as you used to. This kind of is on par with like childhood healing. It's impressive.
Yeah, and what was really great about
it's banned by the NBA too, so you can't play professional sports anymore.
I haven't sent in my retirement papers yet. So technically, I'm still free. The Lakers. I mean, they've missed out on all their signings so far this year. I know.
Maybe you and Clay can go to Dallas then.
Clay already went to Dallas, man. This guy, his dad was the #1 overall pick too. His dad played for the Lakers. His dad currently announces for the Lakers. What's going on, Clay?
I mean, he said it was a tax thing.
That's what he said?
He said taxes in California played a big role in it. He considered Los Angeles and Dallas. It was kind of down to the two of them. And that he felt that the tax benefits being in Dallas, and there's something else about Dallas too. I don't remember what it was, but one of the.
I mean, obviously their team is.
Obviously better. They were 3 wins away from like a championship or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
they were in the finals recently, and the thing that they needed more than anything was shooting.
Okay, don't nerd out too hard. Okay,
I'm just saying,
pace yourself a little bit.
I'm just saying he feels like he'd be a fit, but their odds didn't change once they signed him.
Okay,
Nonetheless,
that's what addicts would say.
That's what addicts would say. Yeah, nonetheless, back to the guys over at Transcend. It was great, and he set me up. And what I really liked about it, it didn't feel forced. He made me feel comfortable. I'm like, look, this is a whole journey that we're gonna start. Don't worry about it. We're gonna start gradually, and we're gonna see like how this goes, and we'll constantly monitor, and you can continue to check in with me.
This is exactly how I got my wife to marry me, by the way. So I'm currently on Tesamorelin, which is also 30% off right now. That is specifically targeting stomach and visceral fat.
Mm-hmm.
It has been fantastic for me. I'm on BPC 157. I'm on IGF-1 LRG, which is a longer lasting variant of it. It's effectively a type of growth factor, right? Just to kind of get my HGH levels up naturally, not like give myself HGH per se. I'm on obviously testosterone and HCG in order to keep productivity going, because you never know if you want another Chris running around. I'm on NAD plus for cognitive abilities. I'm in, dude. I'm deep.
Yeah.
I'm deep in. My sister, this is
true
the
ambassador.
Dude, not only am I a true ambassador, I know that thanks to you, I'm no longer the fattest client they have. I'm the second fattest client they have.
Listen. I am the before. That's why we're wearing the same t-shirt.
And I am the after. And the upgraded professional plus mentorship edition comes to Adam from Mind Pump. Yeah, that's what you get if you're on stuff forever.
I know these shirts don't do you any justice though, because your shoulders are like real boulders right now.
No, I actually try to look fatter on the show because I want people to go, okay, he's not in shape and he's not super attractive, so he has to know about finance. Because if I was the opposite, they'd be like, that's not authentic.
Yeah, get out of here, bro.
Yeah, come on, guy.
I know.
You can't be a model and do this.
I do feel weird at times, because I know there is, at the end of the day, people want to receive their financial literacy probably from a guy in a dress shirt or something. I'm always like, when I come in and I'm rocking the backwards hat, people are like, I'm not going to listen to this fucking guy.
The irony is like, that's how I dress most days of the week.
That's what I'm saying. Me too.
I'm wearing a shirt and a tie and a suit, or, fitted jeans, whatever. I'm dressed well I know it's bullshit whenever I say it and this is how you see me all the time, but I'm usually dressed very well. Dude, but I'm not the guy who's going to take a selfie while I'm in the office being like, bro, shooting out hard today. I'm not that guy.
Truth be told, Chris used to be that guy where he would take a photo of himself every single day in his suit and his shirt and tie and the little lapel flower. You just cut off your head. You had a whole Instagram page devoted to it.
Yeah.
Outside of your normal page.
Yeah, no, I did. And then I stopped it. So this is going to sound super zesty.
I'm sorry, what is zesty again?
You just use your imagination.
Okay.
It's going to sound super zesty. All right.
Woostery?
Yeah. So one of my favorite pages on Instagram is a guy named Sergio, but his handle is what my boyfriend wore. Right? Okay. Which I know me going to it's
hey, you can't deny the style, bro. I get it. I'm not even going to hate on it because you can't deny the style.
He's been around for God knows how many years. I used to follow him way back in the day when I was like into fashion, but he just dresses very well, very tailored. He has a capsule collection. Now that I've lost weight again, I'm getting back into just trying to find more of a capsule collection.
Let's reach out to Sergio. Let's get him on the show.
I think he's based in South Africa or London or something.
We'll make it work.
We could. I mean, it's just not like we don't record at odd ass hours anyway. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we could probably do that.
To our benefit.
I'd love to talk to him about clothes, fashion, business. I don't even know what he does. He has to be a handsome dude.
Yeah, I mean,
if that was your job, what a good job.
I mean, for guys too, man, you just get better with time.
That's not true. People who say that are in denial.
What? That's a known fact, dude.
No, that's what women tell men to make them feel better about having a
Come on, bro. No, not a dad bod. You can't obviously you can't go to this. This isn't it.
Don't be self-loathing. If I'm gonna make fun of you, you can't do it for me. Okay.
I watched 8 Mile.
Yeah.
I know how this works. But yeah, no. Look at Clooney, man. Still a stud.
Clooney's not normal.
What do you mean? I'll be honest. I never saw him as like an attractive man, but a lot of people do.
Equally zesty.
What do you mean?
All the spice. Lots of flavor, brother.
Lots of flavor. All right. We want to get into this pop culture, or you got more articles?
I have another article, but I'm still trying
to really
figure out. First of all, who never thought George Clooney was attractive?
No, I'm saying I mean, I don't see it. I'm not.
So what man did you find attractive, Saied?
I can get in that. I'm confident in myself.
Are you a Keanu Reeves guy?
I'm not a Keanu Reeves guy.
You're a Chris Hemsworth guy, aren't you?
No, I'm also not a Chris Hemsworth guy. I mean, I get it. He's buff, but I'm not. I'll say this.
What is your standard of attractive? Jesus, this seems like a high bar.
This is.
I just named two of the most attractive men of all time.
All right, so Brad Pitt was definitely out there, right?
As attractive, or
Antonio Banderas out there.
Antonio Banderas not attractive.
Not anymore, right?
He got real weird, dude. He's niche attractive. I'll give you that.
Nick Wooster, attractive.
No, you like Nick Wooster's style. Nick Wooster
without makes him attractive.
Without the tattoo and the clothes.
That's him, though. That is him. Very zesty.
Well, I mean, he is openly gay, but I'm just, he's also like one of the most well-dressed men I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Although the kilts with the military style, I mean, I think he's gone a little extreme in some of that stuff.
That was, he was Kanye before Kanye.
Bro, but he is one of the most iconic men in fashion I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Him, Tom Ford.
I remember seeing that Glenn Plaid blazer on him first and being like, that's my favorite blazer of all time.
Oh, so the backstory here, you probably don't know this. There was originally, so back when GQ was actually more sartorial and suiting based and less hip hop and like casual based, that there was a columnist who answered sartorial clothing based questions. His name was Glenn. I can't remember his last name. May he rest in peace. He passed away. He was known for having that blazer.
Oh, wow.
The plaid blazer kind of vibe. That was him.
The Glenn Plaid? Wow.
Yeah. Glenn Plaid, it was a black undertone with a greenish color. And he was really the one who popularized wearing that as suiting.
Yeah.
And he made it so fashionable. And this is the guy who answered all your fashion questions. Like, how do you wear vests? And he would answer all of them.
How much of your shirt should come out of your blazer?
Oh, it was a constant column that I read. And when he passed away, I remember how like devastated I was. And shortly after that, GQ changed their entire kind of spin to appeal to the younger generation. So there's more urban and streetwear and more hip hop to it. And it's not as iconic as it once was, at least in my sense. I understand generationally I'm probably different now. But it was a pivotal moment in my like world when that man died.
Man.
Sorry, totally off
Rest in
topic,
peace.
but yeah. Sad. I have one more article on inflation, but let's skip that. Let's go right into pop culture.
The poppies.
But
real quick, now it might be a good time.
Wow, did you just like culture jack me?
Now might be a good time. If you're listening to the show on Apple or Spotify, please head over and leave us an honest 5-star review. Swifty Karma, I mean, that's going to be the last one. We're going to leave it at Swifty Karma. Someone's got to top that, right?
I'm just looking at you, bro.
Yeah, that was a great review. But if you want to top that review, please head over there, leave us an honest 5-star review. And if you're watching us over on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell, hit that like button. Let's get this video out to as many people as possible. Let's do the moist, goody good stuff.
I'm not entirely sure that wasn't your review.
It's not my review. I keep every time I go back to check, it's still there.
Yeah. Okay, so if Haroon were here, he'd be like, "All right, guys." Will Smith returns to music with uplifting BET Awards 2024 performance of You Can Make It. But more importantly, because we don't like doing what Haroon says, while he was backstage, Donald Glover.
How do you know this?
Went on stage and said that it's highway robbery, essentially, that he has more Grammy nominations than Will Smith, but he has the same amount of BET awards as Sam Smith.
Gangster line.
And Will Smith was backstage watching, and somebody was filming him watching Donald Glover. When he first said to Will Smith, because I got the punchline yet of Sam Smith, he had the most awkward, strange laugh. Will Smith was like, ha, 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 ha.
Was that Kawhi Leonard laugh?
It was very weird.
So wait, it's been a long time since I watched the BET Awards. They do like movie awards too, in addition to art, like music.
I think it's just music, right?
I don't know. I think
it's just music.
So I mean, how many songs is Donald Glover coming out with?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Does he have album after album? I'm not locked in like that.
Childish Gambino, bro. He got like 3 or 4, bro.
Okay.
Why you stop? This is why I can't co-host shows with you, dog.
3 or 4 songs, bro. That's I know This Is America.
Haroon, tell him what's up.
No.
Oh,
Listen. I understand This Is America. I love that song.
This Is America was like 2 albums deep for him. So he came out with 3005, whatever it was.
I'm telling you, all I know is This Is America.
The problem is you knew him as Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino, when that song came out.
Yes.
But well before that, he was putting out albums under the pseudonym Childish Gambino.
Really?
And nobody knew who he was.
Wow, okay.
So he was using a pseudonym on purpose. And then when his name got revealed, everyone was like, oh.
Because he has such a prominent acting career, right?
He had an acting career, he had other things going on. He's very multifaceted.
I haven't watched the show, but multiple people have told me that show of his, I think it was called Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah, it's really good.
It's really, really good.
I've only seen one episode, and it was fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't get ingratiated in another show. I ain't got time for all that.
You got no time for TV shows? What are you doing? Having tea and popcorn? What's
Bro,
going
I
on?
haven't even watched TV recently. All I do when I get home now, because I'm so stressed out, is look at pictures of you.
I thought you were going to say, try to talk to your wife.
No, I mean, you do that. Have tea, talk for like 3 hours.
1 hour.
You still doing that thing, by the way, the tea thing?
Yeah. It doesn't happen every night, but yeah.
All right, well.
I get roasted on that. I want you to know, because of you, I get roasted on that all the time. As if, like, I'm creating, like, some kind of sin.
Look, man, it's not that it's a sin. It's just that it's very disingenuous.
It's not. I'm telling you that I'm doing it.
Which makes it worse.
I don't understand.
I'd rather you be lying to me about it to look good than you actually doing it. just to be clear.
Why?
Because I'm emasculated by being in proximity to you.
Why is it emasculated? I don't
Because
understand.
I want you to go home and be like, woman, give me my tea. Go upstairs, take care of the kids.
It don't work like that at my house.
It don't work like that in my house either. All right, next up on pop culture, courtesy of Haroon, who is, again, the CEO and not here. He wanted us to talk amongst ourselves. Is Jamie Foxx reveals new details about mystery illness that left him hospitalized. I had not heard about this, but
let's click it. Click the links.
Bad headache. Asked my boy for an Advil. He said in a newly surfaced video, I was gone for 20 days. I don't remember anything.
Come on, why you got to do that to Advil and ibuprofen, bro?
Bro, I can't take ibuprofen anymore. You know this, right?
Oh, you're allergic to it?
I went, so true story, and damn, we're just all over the place, pop culture tonight. This is awkward. True story. If Haroon were here, he'd be like zapping us, tasing us right now. Get back on track. I used to go to a local clinic to get my TRT replacement therapy before Transcend. And one night I went, and they're like, hey, Chris, you okay? I'm like, oh, my back's a little stiff. I think I just tweaked a muscle, whatever, no big deal. Like, oh, part of you coming here is you can get like this shot and that shot, and one of them was Toradol, which is like Advil on steroids, right? It's like really so it's a Toradol shot. Basically, it's just NASID, like Advil, but just stronger strength, right? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. It's gonna help my back. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, look, I have to go to a dinner literally right across the street. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. Is there any problems? Like, no, you should be fine. Gave me a Toradol shot. I go over to dinner. I have one glass of wine. I'm like, damn, my ears feel all hot. Mm-hmm. Why do my ears feel hot? I'm like, maybe the wine just got me, hit me, because I don't really drink that often.
Right.
I'm like, all right, well, whatever. And I'm having dinner with these two younger guys, and they are like trying to rush through dinner with me. And I'm like laissez-faire, like, okay, guys, you guys want to go? Like, yeah, we should probably go. I'm like, all right. I get in the car, and I look at my rearview mirror to back up, and I look like Hitch, like Will Smith in the movie Hitch, where his face exploded from the shellfish allergy.
Yeah.
My face had swollen big time. And I'm like, why didn't these guys say anything to me?
Oh, my God.
Like, the whole time, my face is swelling up in front of them. They don't say anything to me, right?
Wow.
So I'm in the car, and I'm like, okay, shit. I drive home, and my wife is sitting in the dark outside of my son's room because we're trying to sleep train him. And she has the monitor, so there's a glow of the monitor facing up at her. And I walk up going, honey, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. She looks at my face. She's like, go to the ER now. Now, go, now.
Wow.
Because she knew that she wouldn't be able to drive me with my son to sleep, and we don't want to wake our son up. So I drive to urgent care, which is really close to our house. By the time I get into the room in the back, I can no longer see because my eyes are swollen so much.
No way.
I could
swollen
not see,
shut?
Yeah, swollen shut. I couldn't see the treating doctor. I was having trouble breathing.
We were supposed to record that night. That's right. I remember it, and you had to cancel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for caring about my life.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I know. So gracious of you to cancel the show.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't want to have to carry the show again.
Yeah. So I can no longer take NSAIDs.
Holy
I can't
cow.
take Advil. So anytime I'm swelling, stuff like that, all I can do is like cold plunge.
Wait, do you really think that an Advil? One Advil did this? I mean, Toradol is Advil on steroids,
Yeah,
bro.
one Advil makes my throat swell. No. Yeah, it's weird.
So many jokes.
Let's see here. I'm not in a newly surfaced video circulating social media. Foxx talks to people in downtown Phoenix, reliving the start of the scare. He says that he was in Atlanta and that his sister and his daughter took him to a doctor from whom he received a cortisone shot, an injection used to treat inflammatory conditions. Bro, I am Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
Swelling, pain, and irritant, according to the Mayo Clinic. Next doctor said, there's something going on up there, he said, motioning to his head, but he doesn't want to give details, saying, I won't say it on camera before the recording stops. It's not immediately clear when the video was recorded. Foxx representative didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. So I heard that he had a blood clot.
Could it have caused a blood clot? I mean, given the way your face reacted?
I think the symptoms why he wanted Advil or the headache or something like that are probably what tipped the doctor off. So there's being more. Is my guess.
And that would have been a real tragedy, man. I mean, for a long time. I haven't revisited this, but
that dude is incredibly talented.
I mean, it was the most. I used to say he was the most talented man alive.
I mean, aside from me, yeah, sure.
You would think that about yourself.
See, that's
right. That's right up your alley.
I'm being sarcastic. And
that's not. You were being sarcastic.
Being very sarcastic. Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills Cop. Axel Foley chases cheap nostalgia over creativity. So, to be clear here, this is actually a sequel that is in the works.
Couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I like it too. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F. Right. While not a total catastrophe, Murphy and Netflix's resuscitation of the 80s intellectual property is a timid retread. I like this idea.
I like it. It's going to be hard to sell because I feel like Eddie has pivoted so much from that person where, like, every time you see him in public now, right? Isn't he like, he's always acting like the coolest guy in the room?
Yeah.
And that character is so outgoing, right? It's gonna be a hard sell.
So so this is already out apparently?
It's probably an ad or
something. No, they have the full breakdown of the movie here.
We'll have to do a little bit more research on it to find out. I can't believe this guy wanted us to talk about this. He's trying to get us in trouble.
No, man, this is real. You got to talk about this.
Everybody's talking about this.
Tuah, baby. Have you've seen this? Obviously,
I mean, it's everyone's using it.
So she did one of the podcasts under the Barstool Sports brand today, and she's wearing this big ass cowboy hat, and she's clearly country. She didn't seem as country in the original Tuah like video.
She did not, right?
She just seemed like she was drunk.
Yeah,
but she's just kind of like that.
She's kind of like that, and she really sold it. It's something about it made it seem very, very genuine, right?
Tuah.
You feel me? Or what did she say? Something like that? Like she said, she added something to it that really sold it in her laugh about it. I was just like, geez. And now she's selling merch.
So as much as she might sound kind of dull or like, whatever, I think she's sharper than she comes off. She's got a whole management team that rolled in with her. They had people recording stuff. She's planning on doing like a podcast tour. She hasn't spoke. She apparently had gotten off social media well before this blew up. And when you start listening to her reasons why, she's like, I don't want to be, engulfed in it. I was over it. And you're like, so she didn't delete. So despite the internet got a lot of things wrong. They said that she was a school teacher and lost her job. Not true. She deleted her social media in response to all this. Not true. She deleted it well before. There was just so many things flying around.
Oh, she had deleted her social media before? Did you say why?
She just didn't want to be on social media anymore, well before all this happened.
Look at that. And then she makes something that goes viral like that.
And
That's
insane.
Insane.
Now she's coming back and trying to make it a business, but she has an entire team behind her, signed a management deal.
She needs to follow the blueprint that, what was that girl's name? Not Bad Bunny. What am I saying?
Bad Baby.
Bad Baby, yeah. Catch Me Outside. How you like that?
You know that she became a musician, right?
She became a musician.
Then became an OnlyFans model. Started making tens of millions.
That's what they were saying. All she needs to do is release one OnlyFans video. Game over.
So just to be clear, this is how unfair life is. This girl, the Tuah girl, I don't even know her name, because somebody else is filming, is asked to speak on camera. And she obliges. Obviously been drinking a little bit, having a good time out with her friends. And her and her friend are just getting a little, cavalier, whatever. And the guy asks about, like, what sexual move or whatever it is that makes me, I can't remember the context.
I don't even remember the question exactly.
The question was something to the effect of, like, what turns men on, like, what sexual move turns men on the most, something like that. And she said, you do a Tuah on that thing. And, you're making a reference. And I'm only giving this for context because of how wild that going viral has now built a overnight personal brand for her that she may or may not be able to leverage and build money and wealth off of.
So this goes back to our conversation earlier. We're bringing it back full circle, put a nice little bow on it. I feel like the younger generation between ages 21 to 43 understand the power and the value of something like that.
But she didn't. She may, and she probably does, and that's why she got a management team. That's why she made. But that opportunity was such a wild. If you're a doctor going to medical school and you're spending 5 years in medical school and all this time and money to get the ability to do this,
It's wildly insulting.
and then this chick, in theory, could make millions of dollars from literally being attractive and going "Hak Tuah,"
Right.
and now is all over the internet and becoming like a household name.
Right. You're allowed to be frustrated.
Like that. That's life is not always fair, bruh.
That's the best example of it not being fair.
I mean, it's damn.
Damn, Gina.
You know.
Right? Let's see what else Odin got in here for us.
I didn't even go farther down.
No, I want to skip this. I'm not trying to get flagged. We're not going to do this.
I didn't even look.
Yeah. No, we're not, don't even read it.
I'm going to take a look at it. Whatever. I got to see it now. I'm curious. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing it. We're not getting flagged.
No, I can't do that.
Coach JJ Redick opens up about Lakers drafting Bronny James. Okay, so listen, before the haters come out here, okay, and I know Chris is one of them haters.
I'm not a hater. I've just got some very thoughtful insights.
The entire league is filled with nepotism, okay? I don't want to hear.
No, all businesses are. The nepotism doesn't bother me.
I don't want to look. He had an amazing combine draft workout. Amazing. Arguably one of the best shooting performances. He had an over 40-inch vertical. Look, there's still room for him to grow. I get it. Look, at the end of the day, whoever we would have drafted, right?
No, I got that.
Whoever we would have drafted in the second round at the 55th pick, mind you, there's only 60 picks. He's literally one of the last ones, okay? Would not have been utilized. It's a throwaway. It's take a chance on a kid. Why not use this to fill more seats? Bro, can you imagine the first time, and they said this on the Paul George podcast, can you imagine the first time he's in the game with his dad and he throws his dad a lob? And can you imagine what that's going to be like on the documentary 20 years from now?
Okay. All good, right? My beef is not with Bronny. My beef is with JJ Redick.
He didn't pick him. You mean the GM then? Rob Pelinka. That's what you mean. The guy who picked him is what you're saying?
All I'm saying is JJ Redick is a smart guy.
Very smart guy.
He was a talented player. But he is not. I want to choose my words carefully here because I don't want to be insulting. He is not what I would call a traditional pick in any stretch of the imagination.
JJ? Okay, look, of the people that were out there, they go with somebody like him for the potential, the upside potential. Okay? They didn't shell out a shit ton of money to get him, right? And then they paid him handsomely, but other coaches are getting paid significantly more. There's upside potential there. He played the game under the current rules, so he understands how the current game is being played, right? So he understands the actions. He understands, he knows how to demand respect. If he walks in and LeBron respects him, what do you think the other 14 guys are going to do?
I get that, but just hear me out. I think it's a bad look for the Lakers as a team to do both these things in the same season.
I mean, yeah, you can't. What are you supposed to do? Like,
maybe address it from a PR perspective.
Address what? They have addressed the JJ Redick hire.
Yeah, that's fine. But then you go and hire LeBron's son as an employee who happens to be a basketball player.
Mind you, both coaches in the finals this year were first-time head coaches.
Again, all fine. But how would you rate the Lakers' performance last year based on their staffing?
Their performance based on their staffing?
Yeah, these are employees. They are their staff.
Yeah.
How would you rate their performance based on how the athletes perform?
Subpar.
Okay. You had a subpar result based on one of the most popular franchise names and marquee payrolls in
the best
game.
in American sports.
Okay. With arguably one of the most venerable all-time players who is still incredibly athletic for his age.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Still had a subpar season. You take a chance on a coach. You take a chance on a player.
But they're saying they had a subpar season based on the coaching. That's why they think that. It was the first time LeBron and Anthony Davis were healthy all season. I mean, they should have done better. Bro, there's footages. This is the problem with social media now and all these phones. Footage of, like, during the game, them coming to a timeout, and there's people behind, first row, right behind the bench with their phones out. And
where Adam from Mind Pump sits.
Right behind the bench.
Yeah.
Exactly. You could smell LeBron, right? Recording the play that Darvin Ham is drawn up, right? Darvin Ham, previous coach. And he's sitting there and he's like stumbling, doesn't know how to draw it up, or he's like trying to think, he can't think of it. And then literally 20 seconds goes by and LeBron's like, I got it. And he's like, tells everybody what to do. Because he was literally fumbling. He's drawing something, erases it, draws something again, erases it, thinking, bro, there's a timeout. We're about to go back out there. And then LeBron literally has to go like, fucking, I got it. Get out the way. Let me tell everybody what they got to do, and then they do it. Like, when stuff like that surfaces, that's all you need. You're out. You've lost the respect of the entire locker room at that point.
Well, then it's probably best that nobody on the show knows that's the way Haroon treats us behind the scenes.
That's all he does. The guy, he literally clears the notes. Yeah. You guys don't know what
Shut
you're
up.
doing.
I got this.
I got this. Sit back.
Well, as much as I'm sad to say, this is coming to an end for episode 237.
Yeah. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
And hopefully the next time you hear our voices, you will have our esteemed moderator, DJ Haroon, in the background. But if you don't, that's okay. It just means more work for him.
Yeah.
He has to edit these things after all, and we are kind of cavalier without him here.
You got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Old school. Let's go.